Convince people I was a lawyer. I had a client, are you really a lawyer? I promise I am.
Back then, you didn't look like one. You looked like a law student.
Well, yeah, I know.
You did.
That was the fun of it, you know. So if we're ready to go, I'll go ahead and start. Have a few things to say, and then we will open it up to questions, as we always do. Okay. In the fall of 1999, I bet you some of you weren't even born then. Let me look around the room. You know, I announced that I'd be running for district attorney. At that time, I absolutely had no way of knowing what the journey would be like. I didn't even know if it would be a journey of any length. It could have been a 2-week deal. But I was elected in 2000 as district attorney, and I was really proud to be the first female district attorney elected in Bernalillo County. I had 2 young daughters that I was trying to inspire, and I am proud to be the longest serving district attorney in Bernalillo County. And I would expect that that's a record I'm going to keep, because I would imagine other people would exercise better judgment than running and serving for 4 terms. I say that kind of tongue-in-cheek, but it's a difficult job. It's challenging. It's incredibly rewarding, but it is very challenging. I'm also proud, which is kind of cool and which means a lot to me, is to have served as district attorney and followed in my father's footsteps, so to speak. I think I've made my own footsteps, but I certainly followed in his. And he set the bar pretty darn high, and he let me know before I ran that his expectations were really high. And he's been through all of this with me, and I think he would say that he was proud of me. He wouldn't tell me that, but I think he would tell other people that. So over the last 15 years, it has been an honor to serve as district attorney for the people of Bernalillo County. Even in the times that were challenging, and everybody knows we've had those times. But those are times that make you strong, those are times that give you perspective, and those are really times that make you a whole lot better. We don't learn a lot when we're happy and everything is going well. We do learn a lot when we're challenged. My goals have been, and I've talked to groups about this over the last 15 years, my goals when I came into office, and I have Joe Peone, one of my chief deputies, to thank for saying you have to have a vision. You have to have a vision to make things work. And I just thought, you know, instantaneously, well, okay, what I want to do is raise the morale of the staff and support them to their highest potential, because people choose to be here not for the money, believe it or not. I know you guys think that we have lots of money here. We don't. They choose to be here because they care about our community and they really want to make a difference. And I would contend that that makes you richer than the millions of dollars that other people have in the bank. Also, secondly, to increase the office's effectiveness in the prosecution of cases, and thus positively impact public safety. And third, and this is so important, especially in recent years, to operate the office in a manner that restores the public's faith in the integrity of the criminal justice system. And thus, I have been available to answer the tough questions. I have been available during the controversies. You won't see me going out of town or not being available or not attending meetings that might be controversial. You'll see me in the middle of it, answering questions or returning phone calls. We've had so many accomplishments. And you know, I'm not a person that keeps track of all the accomplishments because I'm too busy working and trying to make something else happen. But we've had incredible accomplishments. Our work with neighborhood associations throughout Bernalillo County, I think, has been great. It's been a good thing for the community. And we really have Bill Hoke, who has died last year, to thank for that. We started the Mether Initiative, and that was a program where we found people were living criminal lifestyles and they had a methamphetamine connection, and judges were not sentencing them according to the impact they were having on our community. And so we would bundle those cases together, present them to the court, and the court would have a better appreciation, and these individuals were held accountable for their criminal lifestyles. We started the felony DWI division, which I think was really critical in holding the repeat offenders accountable. And it also was easier for us to get certifications of their prior convictions so that we could prove their priors. we worked with the Safe City Strike Force and the nuisance abatement group at the police department, and that was to shut down buildings and places that were just targets of criminal activity. Something that's a little bit under the radar, but which I'm really proud about, is Troy Davis is in the back of the room, one of my chief deputies. He and I challenged the Capital Jury Project, and that was in the Astorga case. And that was done in all death penalty cases across the nation to basically say that the death penalty is unconstitutional because all jurors are predisposed to find in favor of the death penalty. We were the only office in the United States that challenged that. And after we challenged it, we got calls from other DA's offices across the country saying, hey, can we get a transcript of that? And asking us how we did it, because we were the first. Our officer-involved shooting reports, and I'm sure that most of you are familiar with that. We changed that process in 2012. We've been contacted, I know Kayla has, by people all across the country saying, I've never seen this. I don't know of any other district attorney's office that puts in the time and the effort to do these reports that you do, and that puts in all of the supplemental report, the statements of different individuals, and even the video cameras or the taser cameras of the officers involved. And it's incredible, and we're really proud about that. We not only believe in transparency in government, we practice it. Our work with the media, guys, we've had our disagreements, you know, but not really. I mean, not really, because you're doing your job, we're doing our job. I believe, and I thank you all for making me better. I can't think of a greater curse on any public official than not to have a strong media scrutinize everything they do, because that makes us better. And I feel sorry for the public officials that don't have that. And you know that there are ones that don't have that. It has made me better, so I thank you in part for our success as well. We've tried to be extremely responsive to the media, and I believe in 2009 had a PIO. Kayla is now our PIO. And I think you'll find that we are extremely responsive. I can't think, even when we disagree, we talk to you. We give you information. And I'm really proud about our responses to IPRA. Several agencies have been sued because they haven't been responsive. They're more in the business of not providing information than providing information. And I can honestly say in our office, we sit down and review IPRA requests, and I'm involved, and Kayla's involved, and we have Chris Lattman, I don't know if he's in the room, he is in the back of the room, and we sit down and talk about how can we do this? Can we do this, but we can't do that, or how can we accomplish this? Because we want the people to know what we're doing. There's been times we've had reporters ask us about certain things, and we say, come on in the office. Come on in, we'll let you sit down, we'll give you a space to sit down, review cases, and we'll be happy to talk to you about how it works. And I think that that's important because we work for the people. I think a downfall for a lot of people in elected office is they kind of think the job is about themselves or their agenda or their future goals, and it's not. It's about doing the job for the people. It's always about the people. And I'm proud to say that we have never lost view of that. We had an early plea program when our courts were getting overwhelmed with cases where we would sidetrack some cases and fast track them, sidetrack and fast track them. And that was really important. We did a truancy initiative many years ago in working with public schools to get kids back in the schools, and we still have someone working on that. And I think most importantly, our accomplishment is the fact that I've baked over 600 loaves of banana nut bread for the grand juries over the years. I have done that, and when my son was young, he would help me with that. But we did that as a way of trying to, and I say that facetiously, of course, you know, please don't say that I list that as our #1 accomplishment. But what we do that, I mean, is a way of saying thank you for their effort and their time, and as a way of saying everyone counts. Everybody matters, and your time matters, and your dedication to sitting on a grand jury for 3 months matters. It's kind of an old-fashioned way of saying thank you. And I've done every grand jury. I've baked bread for every grand jury, and I will continue to do so until my last day. The challenges are also too many to enumerate. Number one that we deal with on a daily basis, if not hourly basis, is our lack of resources. We don't have the resources to do the job we're supposed to do, and it just breaks our heart to not be able to do everything the way that we want to do it and the way that we think the public deserves for it to be done. Another issue that I've tackled with, and that breaks my heart, is the fact that our employees don't get credit for their work. They aren't rewarded monetarily. Some have to leave because they can't support their families or pay their college loans, and they don't get the recognition they deserve. We have victories many, many, many times every day, and no one knows about that. But if something goes wrong, if one case out of 50 falls through the crack for sometimes even a reason that we're not responsible for, that tends to be on the news. When I go around to the community and speak about serving in this role, I tell people I have the best job in the world because I get to work with the best people in the world. And when I say that, you know, I'm not saying it to be nice. I'm saying it because I believe it. I am so proud to say that, and there's some people around here that every day I'm inspired. If I'm having a bad day, I could leave my office, walk out in the hallway, walk through the office and see someone who is working hard, who is dedicated, committed, and they inspire me. And I think we all inspire each other. I want to thank all of my chief deputies. And I think we can start with Kathy Wright and Joe Paoni, who died, and Debbie DiPaolo, who's back there, who's been with me from day one. we look a little bit worn, but we're still here fighting. And we've had Gary Cade, we've had Mark Drebbing, Troy Davis, Todd Heisey, Sylvia Martinez. Debbie, am I leaving anybody out? Okay. They are friends, and we work and we argue and we joke. And we always, you know, say if there's a bug in the room, the public's really going to be nervous and upset when they see how we communicate. But we get the job done, and we rely on each other, and we support each other. I thank them tremendously for their wisdom, their good judgment, their expertise, and dedication. And I give them credit for the success of the office. And I said, again, we're friends, and I thank them for their friendship, because I think you have to be friends to get through this. The people in this office, I thank all the employees for their loyalty. Not loyalty to me, because it's not about me. Loyalty to the people that we serve, and loyalty to the office and getting the job done. And I want to thank my family. You know, they've been through this with me. My baby, who's now at the University of San Francisco, wasn't completely potty trained. He was a late bloomer when I was running for office, and now he's at the University of San Francisco. I can't believe that. I have a daughter who's graduated from law school, and another daughter who I got to perform a wedding ceremony, married her last year. I have a son who you all know has had issues and problems, and unfortunately has had to grow up in the with a lot of publicity. But even that, I think, has made me, I know it's made me a better person. It's made me a stronger person. So that is what it is. But I truly thank my family for hanging out with me all of this time and supporting me in whatever decision I've made. And there's been some tough decisions, and I've asked my kids, what do you want me to do? Do you want me to do what I think is right, or do you want me to do what's the safest? And I have to say, my kids all said, Mom, you have to do what you think is right. And I'm really proud of that. So with this said, and I bet you guys don't know what I'm going to say next, I want you all to know that I'm not going to be running for a 5th term for district attorney. And my last day in office will be December 31st. There's no question that I'm going to leave a part of me behind in this office, whether y'all want me to or not. Because I've been coming here, not to this specific office, but I've been coming here since I was 8 years old to watch my dad try cases. I feel like I grew up in this office. And when I was a child, and I feel like in other ways I've grown up since I've been district attorney. It's been a supreme honor to be your DA. And I hope the people know that I've returned their trust given to me by pouring my heart and my soul into the job. As sad as I am to leave, I am as excited about my plans for the future and want to assure the community that I will continue to serve in one way or another as long as there is a breath in my body. So I will not go quietly into the night. I will go kicking and screaming and fighting for the things that I believe in and for the things that I want for our state and our community. And I'll open it up to questions.
What are your specific plans for the future?
Well, in all honesty, this is the first time since I was 8 years old that I haven't had everything mapped out. So I have to say that it's a little open-ended. I plan on going into private practice initially.
Specializing in anything particular?
Whatever, comes in the door. I like the, To Kill a Mockingbird was also about the time I saw that when I decided I wanted to be district attorney. And, I kind of like a general practice. I kind of like, just contributing in any way that you can. I can't say that that's where I'll end up, but, that's what I'm planning at this point in time.
Kari, you mentioned, you'll go out kicking and screaming about the issues you care about. Tell us some of those things.
Well, I said, and this was controversial when I said it, and I was shocked that it was controversial, but I think our community is in crisis. I think our state is in crisis. I think a lot of people have said that since I said it. Our economy is descending. I mean, we're descending. In all sorts of ways. We don't have jobs. Our young people are leaving the state. We have more people leaving than coming. We haven't really made a commitment to early childhood education. We've got a Medicaid crisis brewing right now. We had an issue with behavioral health. All know that mental health is one of the biggest issues in New Mexico. I think we're, the worst in the country, and we have the least amount of resources to deal with that. And the behavioral health fiasco a couple years ago devastated us even more. And we haven't recovered from that, and we probably won't recover from that for many, many, many years to come. So these are some of the things that I'm interested in working on and contributing to our community. I like to say, my grandfather died of a heart attack, and I started doing plays in our family garage to earn money for the Heart Association. And so I see, I will do whatever I feel needs to be done to help our community and our state be better. We've got our greatest resources are our people, and we've got so much going, but we have a lot of issues and a lot of problems. And I think we have to recognize the problems to start moving towards a solution. And I just want to be part of that solution. I ask everyone when I go out and speak, we need help. We need help, and everyone needs to be part of the solution. I think the crime rate, and everybody knows that crime is up, and it seems totally out of control, is related in part to some of our economy. Our young people can't work. They can't find jobs. When you have, 10,000 people? How many people applied for the jobs at the Cheesecake Factory? 10,000 people applying for jobs. It's not what it needs to be, and we all need to be part of that solution.
A different elective office in the future?
I'm not saying no to anything. I'm saying yes to the world, to opportunities, to my commitment to continue to serve and do what I think is best, and also to lead by example for my children. My children inspire me and help me be as good as I can be, because I want them to believe that too.
Can you go into a little bit more your reasons for not running again?
I'm tired.
Okay.
In all honesty, in 2012, I wasn't planning on running. I had plans, and I wanted to move forward with those plans, but we looked for other people to run for district attorney. Couldn't find anyone that we thought could step in and continue and complete some of the things that we had started. And so I decided, okay, I'll run, one more term. And I did that, and the big issue then was officer-involved shootings and trying to develop a protocol and develop a process for that. And so I ran in 2012, and I decided, at that point I decided I wasn't going to run again, and I told everyone around me. When I saw problems happening in our community, and I wanted to be part of the solution, but I wasn't sure how to go about doing that, I, for a short time, considered running for DA again. And over a period of time, I realized I would be much more useful if I was out of office than in office.
I want to go through a couple of the things you mentioned as successes for the office. First, the officer-involved shooting protocol thing. That's a process that was sort of forced on you by the judges across the street who told you to stop using the investigative grand juries. Do you feel like the process that's in place now is a better process than what you had in place before?
I think I can't say that it's better because we're comparing apples to oranges, if that makes sense to you. I think that it's more transparent, and that part I really like. I don't like the fact that we can't compel people to make statements, that we can't take statements under oath, and that we're not getting the benefit of 12 hopefully unbiased individuals who don't have a dog in the fight making the decision whether we should go forward or not. I mean, I think those aspects of it were good, but I do like the transparency of our new system.
Do you think it's a system that should be used statewide? I know a lot of the other DAs around the state are still using the investigative grand juries. Do you think your process serves the public better?
I think that every DA, I truly believe in autonomy, and I think that for the different areas, there's many areas around the state that are very different than Bernalillo County, and I think they need to do what they feel best serves their constituents and their communities.
How many police shootings do you have right now, and do you plan to finish those before the end of the year?
We have approximately, and this is an approximate number, 30 that we have. We don't have reports on all of those.
You have 30?
I think, isn't that? Yeah, approximately 30. And we don't have reports on all of those. So obviously the ones we don't have reports on we're not going to get to, but we're hoping to get to all the ones that we have reports on. Now, I tell people this is a priority in our office. I mean, it's a very important priority, but time is time is an issue too, because everyone that does those reports has another job and a half that we're doing, and so we're adding this on. And it's a bit of an issue. We were hit with the case management order last February 2nd, and we have just been swamped dealing with issues surrounding that. But we hope to get all of the officer-involved shooting reports out that we have reports on.
And that's 30?
And we're hoping.
We don't have
No, we don't have reports on 30.
Okay.
So only the ones that we have reports on, Debbie?
I believe also some of those in the count include in custody deaths that
Right.
in many cases
Okay.
are suicides.
Right. That's on our list, right. So we won't be doing reports on those.
Okay.
You said in 2012 you ran again because there wasn't anybody there to take over the
Well, we
mantle.
looked for someone that we felt would be appropriate for the challenges, and we did not find anyone that we felt.
So do you see someone now?
No, I just decided I did it 4 years, and it's time to move on. You know, at some point, as much as I like to serve, I really do believe what's pulling me away is I think I can do more when I leave office.
What more do you think you can do out of the office?
Well, I think that I can be a little more vocal. I think that I can talk about other things that probably wouldn't be appropriate for me to talk about as district attorney. I can practice law in a different way. Right now, I can't practice law outside of the DA's office. I think it's just the sky's the limit.
Will you support any of the announced candidates for this office so far, and if so, which one?
You know what, I'm not going to do that because I wouldn't want that to negatively impact the employees in the office. If I supported one and the other person won, then it could hurt the employees in the office. So I'm going to remain neutral, and I'm going to work very hard for a very smooth transition, because that is part of my responsibility as district attorney. And you guys will be so lucky. Aren't you happy I'm going? Aren't you happy that you won't be seeing me so much? You know.
Would you be able to identify like maybe the first top 2 or 3 challenges for the next DA out of kind of what you've mentioned here? Beyond it.
I think the case management order is going to continue to be an issue because we're just not getting the reports that we need to move forward. I believe, and you know, let me say, by me thinking that, there's going to be a new day in that gets to establish what their own priorities are, and I certainly wouldn't want to take that away from them. But I think officer-involved shootings are going to remain an issue for at least the next couple of years. And I think, once again, trying to keep the morale up with the people in the office. is going to be really important. Because you've got to have individuals that feel they're valued. And that's a daily issue when you have people that are underpaid and overworked and typically only get negative attention.
Speaking of the CMO, one of the reasons, of course, that was put into place was because of the enormous backlog that was taking place down here. Do you feel like you and this office have any responsibility for helping to create that backlog? And more specifically, do you think this office indicted too many cases for a lot of years?
I don't think we did, and our cases were pretty consistent. And I haven't compared them with past administrations, but I think with the population, they've been pretty consistent. So we've been indicting this number of cases for the last 40 years. So I can't say that. But I do think, I think everybody's part of the responsibility. Anybody involved, I think the courts, I think our office, I think the defense attorneys, the public defenders, I think we all kind of got acclimated to a slower pace, which created the problem.
You had mentioned your work with the Safe City Strike Force. Mm-hmm. That's a program that more or less doesn't really exist anymore because of all of the constitutional challenges basically to that. How do you kind of square that? Do you feel like that was a good program the way it was working before it was shut down?
I think it was, from our office's perspective, I think it was a good program, and our involvement in it was good because we had hotels and different areas that were ridden with crime. I mean, it was a target place for crime and homicides and drugs and things like that. And by getting rid of those places, we got rid of the crime that occurred in that area. So from our office's perspective, it was a good thing. And I think for the neighborhoods, it was very well supported in a positive thing.
I want to go back to something that happened last year with the investigation by the police department into you. With a number of months sort of removed from that now, have your feelings about that changed at all? And do you plan on taking any action where that's concerned?
Well, I think, you know what, I'm going to answer that with, I agree with the Attorney General's report on that. You all have brains, the public has brains. I trust everyone to see that for what it was. And I'm not looking in my rear view mirror. I'm looking ahead.
Karen, it's 10 o'clock.
Okay, so anything else, guys? We're going to wrap it up because I've got other commitments.
What are you gonna do about Nehemiah Viego? Are you gonna try to get that? You said you didn't get you going to appeal that sentence.
Oh yes, we are planning on appealing that. I believe we have 30 days from the time the judgment and sentence or the disposition is filed before we have to file our notice of appeal, but we will be appealing that.
Kari, one last question. Do you think a new DA office will help relations with APD?
Well, I don't know. I think we have great relations with APD. I really do. We work with the men and women in the trenches, and they get us the police reports as quickly as they can. They tend to be very responsive. We meet with them. I mean, I can't tell you how many meetings we have a week with the police department because so many different people are involved. So I do think we have a great working relationship with the police department.
How about the brass? Has that gotten any better?
You know what? We really work with people at different levels than the brass. So
no?
Well, it hasn't changed. I mean, we work well and communicate well with the police department. I don't want to, talk about specific individuals because frankly, I don't even know the contacts that other people have with those individuals. But I think that we work well, and any issues that we have with the police department aren't because the men and women in the trenches aren't doing their very best. Okay? Thank you all very much.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Handsome. Breathe. How are you?
Yeah.